Hey fam, Ashen here. Welcome back to the channel guys, and welcome to another build showcase if it comes to Ashen games. Today we're gonna take a closer look to the Lords of the Fallen and the newest build we have constructed during our very first playthrough if it comes to this beautiful game. We played this game from start to finish to what the equivalent is towards the rich and the deprived class of the Lords of the Fallen itself. That means a very difficult class to start with in the beginning. So in the end of this build that we managed to create was a combination of a strength fate build, and we managed to push this build all the way to New Game Plus itself, and it was completely devastating for any single enemy out there. So we're showing myself and of course the community itself the survivability of this build. I wanted to showcase to you how this build truly works and all these details, and of course how you can perform into this game if you are struggling and even surviving the smallest thing when it comes to those that fallen itself. By any means, if you do like this content, do not hesitate for a second to smash the like button, comment down below and subscribe to the channel. Any additional questions, you can always reach me during my live streams, Discord page, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, or any single thing you will find as a social media accounts within my channel itself. No further ado, let's go straight to the chapter itself. Let's go straight to the build itself. We're going to showcase you the stats itself, the class, the best class for you to choose to make this build, and of course the weapons that I have, and of course the drip, and finally what I'm using right now. So if you want the same drip as a form of my version of a paladin itself. Now for you to be able to make this build in a proper way, there are three classes I recommend you. Two of them are decent classes and form of labeling that the game gives you, and one of them is actually the real advanced class of the three I'm going to showcase to you. My very first class, it truly is an easy mode class if you are willing to start the game for the very first time. Even though it's labeled as an advanced class, do not worry about that labeling. That is truly the best class of Lord of the Fallen. If you want to start early on, I have an overpowered advantage. And of course the class that I'm talking about is the Orion Preacher. Even though it has a labeling around it, you get access to very useful magic very early on to the game. You have range attack, and of course a killer set of weapons. You can purchase straight upgrades and useful gear right away on the bat as well if you're playing with this class. A little tip I want to give you guys: if you want to be overpowered with the Orion Priests, and select of course the Orion Priest and collect the mini owner's ring near the Red Cope's windmill vestige in the Umbral before you fighting Pietha. Once you defeat Pietha, access the Sky Bridge itself from the Exeter Dunmer. Purchase the Orion Preacher's Hammer for 600 figure, Radiant Flare for 500 figure, Helion Radiance for 650 figure, and Radiant Weapons for 1000 figure. Next you need to go to the Stoneman, the Captain of the Fiddles, and purchase the Hollow Knight sets. The gauntlet will cost you 1000 figure, a helmet 1300 figure, the leggings 1000, and the armor itself 1500 figure. With this complete set you will have already the best possible gear set for you to be able to smash this game and become very overpowered extremely early on into the game itself. The second class for me that I recommend you to pick and to start with if you really want to make the best of this build and your best experience within the Lord of the Fallen itself is the one and only the Dark Crusader. It's the only class, if you own the deluxe edition of course of the Lords of the Fallen, you get it at the beginning of the game itself. Otherwise you have to unlock it via in-game playthrough itself by a different form of quest. By finishing it, then eventually you will get the Dark Crusader itself. The good thing about Dark Crusader, it has a very powerful melee class and radiant power. A longsword is capable to do massive sweep damage and dedicated vertical strike itself. It's a perfect well balanced class if you want to go for the paladin playstyle from the get-go as well. Of course how the stats is allocated himself between strength and of course radiant itself, that is fate in this game itself. Hands down the Dark Crusader is the secondary best class for you to choose if you want to have the best experience and playing a paladin, and of course this build at the get-go. Last but not least, the last class I always try to recommend every single gamer out there to try at least once in every single Soulsborne game is the class in the Lord of the Fallen. It's called the Condemned class. The Condemned class is starting class of the Lord of the Fallen, and is by far the hardest class to play with, since you start with lower stats across the board compared to his other peers of classes itself. You have 9 points across the boards. This class determines both the starting equipment and the stats of the player itself. But during the course of the game, of course, you have the choice to go every direction that you want and to test different form of playstyles you see fit. The reason I always recommend players to play with the Condemned or on the Rich class for the Elden Ring players among ourselves, or the Deprived class for the Dark Souls gamers, because it allows you to think outside of the box and to tackle your opponents and your situation always differently. And also give you the opportunity to test different weapons and to really solidify your own playstyles and of course your own build moving forwards. So the best 3 classes I always recommend according to this build and this playthrough, of course, is gonna be, first one, like I said, the Preacher. Second class is the Dark Crusader, and of course the third class is the one and only Condemned. I know by now you'll be wondering what is the stats that I have within this build and the end of the New Game Plus itself. What is the gear set that I'm using, the drip that I have, and all those nice stuff. Let's go in first of all and talking about the gear sets that we have, then we go for the stats, and of course as final thoughts if it comes to this build, shall we? First thing first, let's start talking about the weapons that we are using right now if it comes to our build showcase. We're using Ravager Gregory's sword +10. It is a strength scaling weapon, scale himself perfectly with strength, and his most output of DPS comes with his physical power itself. And it has a proper healing a scaling as well, so that makes it a perfect weapon for Fate builders and those who wants to have that Paladin-ish playthrough, and of course aesthetics and feeling itself, because it scales himself perfectly between strength and of course radiance, and this game is called Faith itself. The second weapon that we are using is the Sanctified Hunter's Shield. The reason +3 only. The only reason that we are using this shield because it grants us a small health regeneration the moment we have it equipped. Increasing that with of course our rings, we're always gonna have a certain form of health regeneration active at all time. A form of chalice we are using is the Abbess Chalice +10 itself. And this gear set we combining of course with the Queen Varian ring +2. A ring worn by the Queen Varian itself. It gives us a health generation over time. And it scales himself equally and together with of course the Sanctified Shield itself. So like I said, every single time we are in combat we always have a certain form of heal generation active for us. We have the Orion Sorcerer's Ring. Increases our holy damage because we're using holy spells as well, just to buff the damage output of our holy spells. And of course we have the Holy Triceptor. This increases the poster damage of course of our holy damage output itself. In form of spells we're using the Radiant Weapon, we're using the Blessed Reflection, we're using the Aura Tenacity. What it does actually, it reduces the damage you are taking. It's a form like an extra shield we are using because we are always active in close quarter combat. So we just have the shield active at all time. Then we use our Radiant Weapon to buff our weapon and radiant spells. And then afterwards we start putting our spells how we see fit. The Blessed Reflection, the Piercing Light, or of course the Radiant Judgment. We have other spells as well in our combinations. We have, for example, we have a Vigoring Aura we can use as well to give us another heal boost as well if we want to truly have that constant heal over time together with our ring and our shield. We also have the Barbarian Aura, any other spells healing radiance we can use, or even the Divine Arms itself. The choice is yours how you want to play and from your playstyles moving forwards. In form of the drip we are using of course the Sacred Resonant Bell with the Ravager armor itself, with the Holy Buck gauntlets, and of course the Sovereign Protected leggings that give us the perfect poise that we need to have the little bit more survivability if it comes to our equipment itself. How does it look? Of course, you can see for yourself, the drip looks absolutely stunning. There's nothing more I can say or do to make sure that this drip looks as good as it is. I personally love this drip, and yeah, hopefully you as well. Once again, a form of stats that we are using in this build and New Game Plus 1, we have stopped leveling ourselves at level 150 just to give us that extra challenge. But as you proceeding, we're playing this game, level up however you see fit. We stopped 150 really to start showcasing the survivability of this build moving forwards. And so we managed to get then and 42 points into strength, 9 in agility, because we started as a starting class the condemned, like I told you before. Endurance of 41 to give us the extra resistance, endurance, and of course stamina to do as much stamina outputs that we can in our swings of our great sword itself. Increase of vitality at 60 because we are always in close quarter combats. It's very important we have the vigor check properly, so increase your vitality as fast as possible to the highest tier, that's 60, and 42 points into radiance because we are using a lot of radiant power as well to make sure that our radiant spells scales himself, at least does a decent to a very strong damage output. Because now remember, our Ravager swords is a weapon that scales himself equally between strength and radiance itself, so it's very important that we scale our weapons strength and radiance equally as possible to truly get the maximum DPS output of our Ravager great swords, because it's both an A tier type of a weapon and scales once again equally between strength and radiance. That's why we split our pool, 42 points into strength, 42 points into radiance, to make sure that is balanced on a proper way in form of DPS output from this weapon itself. And the rest is all 9 points, because for the simple fact, we are a condemned class. And that's it, guys. If you are looking for a very strong build in the very first playthrough if it comes to Lord of the Fallen itself, do not hesitate to test this build, because I guarantee you your survivability into this beautiful game, of course, that is Lord of the Fallen. For any more tips and tricks, you're always going to be on the right channel here in Ashen Games. That's me as your host, the Ashen Lord Memnon itself. So thank you for being here, thank you for chilling with me, and thank you for choosing this channel as your gaming channel to be. Any additional question, you can always reach me on Discord, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, any other social media pages you'll find left and right. Come and say hi. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel. It's all 100% for free, but helps me tremendously a lot in moving the algorithm and of course boosting my channel moving forward. Thank you very much again, merci beaucoup, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take care, one love only.